Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we really plunge into the stories that, shape how we see the world. Everything from ancient myths right up to the huge cinematic universes and comic books that are just so central to storytelling today.
Yeah, absolutely.
And today, we're pulling back the curtain on this really fascinating stack of sources. They're all connected to these iconic characters, these sprawling narratives, and the really deep themes that tie them all together across loads of different fictional universes. Our mission, really, with this deep dive isn't just to summarize. It's about extracting those surprising, important nuggets of knowledge, those insights, to help you get truly well-informed about the complex tapestry of these fictional worlds.
And those insights aren't just plot points, are they? It's more about connecting these really detailed profiles we've looked at. Legendary Marvel and DC characters, both the heroes and the villains,
Right.
with these deep dives into beloved film trilogies, things like The Godfather, The Dark Knight, The Terminator, Gladiator, and even huge cinematic things like Avengers, Endgame, and Avatar.
Yeah, the big ones.
Exactly. We're looking at these profound themes: power, heroism, identity, the impact of technology, and exploring how these ideas are portrayed in ways that, well, they really stick with you.
So get ready for a journey right into the heart of these narratives.
Yeah.
We thought we'd start by unpacking the theme of power, because it's just such a driving force across so many of these incredible stories.
Differently.
It's not just about who has the power, but what that power actually does to them,
Yeah.
and how it shapes entire worlds.
You're absolutely right. Power, whether it's like political, military, maybe even supernatural, it almost always comes with a heavy cost, often one you don't immediately see. And these sources, they offer a really stark, sometimes chilling look at its corrupting influence and the lengths characters will go to wield it, or sometimes even just to desperately escape it.
You see this so clearly, and it's so tragic, with the Corleone family and the Godfather trilogy. Michael Corleone's journey is, well, it's practically a textbook example of the corrupting influence of absolute power, isn't it?
It really is.
Our sources dive deep into his transformation. They highlight how he starts as this reluctant outsider, almost the black sheep of the family. Remember him at the wedding in his military uniform?
Yeah, totally separate.
Seems completely separate from the family business. But by the end, he just morphs into this ruthless, isolated Don, who, as the sources put it, ends up becoming his father, Vito. And the real insight here isn't just that he becomes ruthless. It's how he uses the very virtues Vito preached: loyalty, family, reputation, how he weaponizes them to justify increasingly monstrous acts.
And that transformation is conveyed so subtly but so powerfully. What's really fascinating is how Al Pacino's physical appearance changes through the film.
I really see it.
Even down to him stuffing paper balls in his mouth in Part 2 to look more like Brando's Vito in Part 1.
You read about that.
Yeah, and it wasn't just imitation. It was his physical manifestation of Michael becoming the very thing he swore he'd avoid, the body literally sort of following the soul's corruption. And Vito himself, despite running this huge criminal empire, he genuinely saw himself as a good man, a businessman, not a murderer.
Yeah, that disconnect is amazing.
But his operations were so deliberately shrouded in darkness, and Gordon Willis's cinematography, that masterful low-key lighting, it uses shadows to perfectly symbolize that moral ambiguity.
It really does.
And then Michael's initial, almost naive statement to Kay: senators and presidents don't have men killed. It's just chillingly undermined by his own later actions, like the intricate framing of Senator Pat Geary. It's a clear demonstration of how the elite use that hidden influence.
And the emotional detachment is just staggering. The sources really emphasize how Michael's chilling declaration to Fredo, "I know it was you, Fredo, you broke my heart."
Right before the kiss of death?
Exactly. Before the kiss of death. It just underscores his complete emotional desolation in his pursuit of power and family control, and that iconic final shot of the door closing on Kay in Part 1.
Oh, yeah. So powerful.
Literally shutting her out from the brutal truth of what Michael's become. It isn't just a visual flourish, is it? Our sources reveal it as this potent symbol of her final realization of his deceit and her total exclusion from his dark world. It's just a moment of profound, tragic isolation.
Absolutely.
Fine.
And the films also cleverly weave in this sharp commentary on capitalism itself. Vito, for example, he famously rejects the drug business in the first film. Why? Because he correctly predicts it would bring unwanted political scrutiny.
Right. bad for business in the long run.
Exactly. And it highlights Coppola's insightful observation on changing business models and their real-world parallels to the shifting landscape of American enterprise at the time.
That's a great point.
And then you consider Michael's actions in part 2, like forcing Kay's abortion, which was, a controversial plot point influenced by the real-world Roe v. Wade decision.
Yeah, very controversial.
Our sources analyze this as this brutal metaphor. Michael literally breaking the cycle of life to sustain the cycle of power. And it ultimately leads to this tragic, lonely reign for him, completely devoid of genuine human connection. It's a profound comment on the ultimate cost of unchecked power.
It's not just mob bosses who fall prey to this, though, this all-consuming hunger for power. If you look at the cosmic scale, you've got Thanos in the MCU.
Oh, definitely.
Our sources reveal that his motivation isn't simple villainy. It's rooted in this terrifyingly rational, though horrifying philosophical idea.
The balance.
He sees this cosmic need to balance finite universal resources by wiping out half of all life. He genuinely believes this is necessary for long-term sustainability.
Yeah, it's chilling because it has that veneer of logic.
Exactly. His immense strength, durability, strategic intelligence, they're amplified massively by the Infinity Gauntlet, of course. But his actions in Infinity War and Endgame are the ultimate illustration of the dangers of unchecked power and this singular destructive vision for balance. He becomes this dark mirror reflecting real-world debates on overpopulation and resource scarcity, just amplified to a cosmic, horrifying scale.
And this thirst for absolute control isn't just a modern thing either. We see this ancient, equally chilling parallel in Commodus from Gladiator.
Oh yeah, Joaquin Phoenix was incredible in that.
Wasn't he? Our sources highlight how his jealousy and this deep insecurity drive him to murder his own father, the revered Emperor Marcus Aurelius, just to seize power. And his portrayal isn't just making him a whiny little bee to make the audience hate him. It's a deliberate choice to emphasize his pettiness, his unsuitability for power.
Right, it's more complex than just being bad.
Definitely. And that gross act of putting his fingers in Lucilla's mouth,
Yeah.
it isn't just about depravity. It visually conveys his terrifying desire for absolute suffocating control over everything, even intimate spaces.
It's so unsettling.
And it's worth noting, too, historical accounts of the real Commodus also depict a similar descent into megalomania, so it adds this layer of historical weight to the portrayal.
Moving into the future now, the Marvel 2099 universe gives us a different angle on how intellect can conquer with Doom 2099.
Ah, Victor Von Doom.
Yeah.
Always ambitious.
Right. His genius-level intellect and advanced cybernetic enhancements let him conquer not just Latveria, his traditional home, but even the United States. He renames the 2099 titles to AD and Doom.
In the Year of Doom. Subtle.
Exactly. But what's particularly insightful here, I think, is his fight against powerful corporations like Alchemax and Pixel Corporation. This reflects a different but maybe equally pervasive aspect of power corporate control in a dystopian future, where these huge conglomerates, not governments, basically dictate everyday life. It's a stark commentary on where unchecked corporate influence could potentially lead.
Yeah, that feels pretty relevant. The allure of leadership is obviously a potent force, but it also carries these immense, sometimes unbearable burdens. We see this with characters who don't necessarily seek power, but maybe have it thrust upon them or find themselves in positions of huge responsibility.
Precisely. Like Maximus from Gladiator, he's a commanding general, has this profound purity of heart. He doesn't want leadership, he's just dedicated to duty, wants to go home instead of taking the throne.
Right. His motivation isn't ambition.
Not at all. His brutal journey from this esteemed general to an enslaved gladiator highlights how power, or the crushing lack of it, can be violently imposed on someone, forcing them into a fight they never wanted. And his iconic declaration, delivered with such raw pain, "My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius," you know the one.
Commander of the armies of the North. Yeah, gives you chills.
Loyal servant to a true emperor, Marcus Aurelius, husband to a murdered wife, father to a murdered son, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next. It shows his motivation is rooted entirely in loss and justice, not personal ambition for power.
And what's really insightful about this, drawing from our sources, is the sheer burden of responsibility, especially for someone like Black Bolt, the king of the Inhumans.
The Silent King.
Exactly. His quasi-sonic scream can destroy planets. It's a power that makes him this devastating weapon, but it completely isolates him. Even a whisper is dangerous.
So he has to live in silence.
Near absolute silence. His enforced silence transforms him into a king who leads purely by presence, by unspoken command. It makes his rule this unique study in leadership where communication itself is a constant, perilous gamble. Every unuttered word carries the weight of a potential apocalypse.
Wow, that's heavy.
And his complex relationship with his brother, Maximus, who's constantly trying to overthrow him, perfectly reflects the intense internal and external pressures of his unique rule.
But leadership isn't always about individual burdens, is it? Sometimes it's more about collective action, like we see with Spider-Man 2099, Miguel O'Hara in Across the Spider-Verse.
Right, the Spider Society.
He leads this highly organized team of spider people from different dimensions. It shows a more collective, almost corporate form of power and leadership in a dystopian future where these huge universal threats demand coordinated responses. And his reliance on his holographic assistant, Lila, his ever-present, witty AI companion.
Love Lila.
Me too. It highlights how future leaders might operate, using advanced tech for guidance and support. She's essentially an extension of his own strategic mind, kind of blurring the lines between human and artificial intelligence and leadership.
That's a fascinating angle. So we've seen how power can corrupt and define, leading to empires, tragic downfalls. But what about the heroes who stand against these forces?
Right.
That leads us perfectly into the idea of heroism itself. What does it truly mean to be a hero when you're facing such overwhelming power? And how do these characters bear that immense responsibility?
You're absolutely right. Heroism isn't always about winning, is it? Often our sources show it's about the crushing burden, the profound sacrifices, and the difficult moral compromises made in pursuing a greater good, even when that good seems almost impossible to reach.
And you simply cannot talk about sacrifice without bringing up Tony Stark in Avengers Endgame.
The ultimate sacrifice play.
Exactly. His whole character arc, going from that self-centered billionaire driven by ego and profit to a selfless hero willing to give everything. It culminates in his ultimate sacrifice to save the universe. And Pepper's final heartbreaking words to him, "We're going to be okay. You can rest now." They're just amplified by that deep sense of finality.
It's devastating.
Our sources point out how the film meticulously foreshadows his death multiple times. His damaged right helmet from an earlier vision, it perfectly matches his future injury.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, and the subtle use of his funeral music in prior scenes lends this poignant premonition. His final sacrifice moment even uses his one-way trip theme from the first Avengers, bringing his journey completely full circle.
Wow. And that "I love you 3000" line.
Oh, it gets me every time.
Which came from Robert Downey Jr.'s own kids. And is even suggested to link to the Infinity Saga's total runtime, about 3,000 minutes. It adds such a profound real-world detail that makes his sacrifice hit even harder.
It really does. And his final act definitively proves Captain America wrong, remember? Cap once said Tony wasn't the guy to make the sacrifice play.
Yeah, he proved him wrong in the most profound way possible. And this commitment to a moral code, even when it demands immense personal cost, is nowhere clearer than with Batman in Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy.
Absolutely. No Cole's Batman.
Our sources explain how he truly embodies that struggle between order and anarchy. His strict moral code, especially his refusal to kill, is an absolutely defining aspect of his heroism.
The one rule.
He altruistically uses fear as a weapon against criminals, which is such a stark contrast to how villains like Falcone and Scarecrow selfishly use it for their own gain.
Right, the motivation is key.
And what's particularly insightful is his decision to take the blame for Harvey Dent's crimes, embodying the hero Gotham deserves, but not the one it needs right now.
The noble lie.
Exactly. It showcases profound self-sacrifice as he becomes a pariah, just to inspire belief in an untarnished hero bearing that moral burden himself. The sources also point out how films like the director's cut of Daredevil get praise for showing superheroes' realistic scars, bruises, painkillers, broken teeth. And that concept profoundly resonates with Batman's physical and emotional toll, especially in The Dark Knight Rises, where he's visibly broken, needs a cane. It illustrates the brutal cost of his vigilantism.
Yeah, that physical toll is often glossed over. And then there's Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze, who just completely challenges our traditional ideas of heroism.
He's not really a hero, is he?
Not in the conventional sense. He's described not as a hero, but as a living weapon of damnation, a spirit of vengeance bound to a human host, explicitly called a curse.
Wow.
The writer's morality is unflinching, brutal. He's not afraid to kill. And he doesn't do second chances or debate ethics.
Very different from Cap or Spidey.
Totally. It puts him at odds with those idealists, blurring the traditional lines between good and evil. It raises profound questions about the nature of justice when it's divorced from compassion. Our sources emphasize that the curse burns the host piece by piece, memory by memory, leading to this terrifying loss of identity, loss of grip on reality. It makes his legacy tragic, not heroic. It's about being lost in the fire and trying to find your way back when you're already consumed.
That's a powerful image.
And you see this endless tragic legacy in the diverse historical hosts, like a caveman riding a hellfire-infused mammoth.
Seriously, a mammoth?
Yeah, right up to noble Kale and Kushala the shaman. Vengeance never truly brings back what was lost for them. It just perpetuates the cycle of suffering.
It seems then that the true mark of heroism often lies not just in power or moral codes, but maybe in the ability to adapt and rise to an overwhelming challenge, whatever form that takes.
Precisely. Jake Sully in Avatar is a prime example of adapting to an entirely new world. His journey from being a paraplegic Marine to becoming a Na'vi tribe member is this powerful narrative of transformation, of awakening. It challenges the audience to consider the inherent value of the natural world.
Yeah, it really makes you think.
He actively tries to bridge the gap between humans and Na'vi, ultimately becoming Toruk Makto, writer of the Great Leonopteryx, and leading the Na'vi in aerial combat against overwhelming military technology. And that powerful Na'vi scream, Sivako, meaning to rise to the challenge when they're hunting or going into battle, it truly embodies their spirit of overcoming adversity through unity and resilience.
And speaking of worthiness, Captain America's journey in Avengers Endgame just encapsulates this perfectly.
Oh yeah, Cap lifting Mjolnir.
Epic moment. His ability to lift it, confirmed by that leitmotif linking back to his leap of faith in Age of Ultron, it solidifies his worthiness and fulfills this long-standing fan desire.
Totally satisfying.
Our sources delve into how his kind of crisscrossing destiny with Tony Stark, ultimately finding rest, and his promised dance with Peggy Carter truly symbolizes his journey to closure and the culmination of his noble path.
Finding peace.
And the powerful callback to his "I can do this all day" line, when he's literally facing his past self in battle. It's just pure cinematic genius. A self-referential nod that underlines his unwavering resolve.
It really lands. Then we look to the future with Lucius in Gladiator 2. Our sources suggest he's potentially Maximus's son.
Right, the legacy continues.
And he initially denies his royalty, his past, because of his deep animosity towards Rome. But through his own trials, he learns to organize men like Maximus did. He eventually embraces his past, taking on Maximus's armor and sword. And his poignant line, wooden or steel, a point is still a point. It so powerfully links him to Maximus's enduring spirit. It shows that the legacy of a hero, not just their bloodline, can inspire and guide across generations, demanding that a new generation rise to the challenge.
Whether it's the ultimate sacrifice, walking that moral tightrope, or rising to a generational challenge, these heroes are just so deeply shaped by their relationships, especially with family. It's striking how often these epic stories come back to something as fundamental as family.
Yeah, definitely.
It can be a source of strength or immense pain, or a legacy that's just impossible to escape.
Family is indeed a powerful anchor, or sometimes maybe a suffocating chain. In these narratives, our sources consistently show how it profoundly shapes identity, fuels motivations, and can lead to these relentless cycles of both fierce loyalty and profound betrayal.
And nowhere is this more central than with the Corleone family in the Godfather trilogy. It is, at its core, this multi-generational saga chronicling the Corleone crime family, focusing so heavily on the complex dynamics between father and son.
That relationship is key.
Michael's struggle is palpable. Our sources delve into his initial desperate desire to stay away from the family business, only to be just inexorably drawn back in and become the Don.
Yeah, he can't escape it.
You even see his physical transformation to resemble Vito, with Pacino meticulously stuffing paper balls in his mouth like Brando did. It's as if the role itself, the very mantle of Don, physically reshapes him.
And what's fascinating is how Vito's own origins are so deeply rooted in family. We see young Vito arriving in America, seeing the Statue of Liberty from behind bars on Ellis Island, such a powerful visual metaphor for his constrained new life.
Freedom, but not really.
Exactly. His early life of crime is fundamentally shaped by revenge for his family's murder in Sicily. It directly sets the precedent for the cycle of violence and loyalty that just perpetuates through his lineage. Then there's Fredo's tragic, heartbreaking betrayal. Our sources analyze it as stemming from his deep-seated jealousy and perceived flights, specifically from his sick childhood pneumonia and being overlooked for leadership in Vegas.
Always the overlooked brother.
Right. This deep insecurity ultimately leads to Michael's chilling betrayal and murder of his own brother, a horrific act that really cemented his isolation.
Yeah, that was brutal.
And in part 3, Vincent, Sonny's raw and volatile bastard son, takes over. But his incestuous relationship with Mary, Michael's daughter, highlights the truly dysfunctional, self-destructive nature of the crime family. Our sources reveal that Michael's tragic loss of his own daughter at the end was heavily influenced by Coppola's personal grief over his son's death, adding another layer of raw, personal emotion to the cinematic tragedy.
Wow, I didn't know that. That adds so much depth. It's not just human families either. Even cosmic villains have these incredibly complex, twisted family dynamics. Take Thanos in the MCU.
Right, Gamora and Nebula.
Despite his ultimate goal of wiping out half of all life, our sources illustrate his deep, albeit twisted, care for his adopted daughter Gamora. And his relationship with Nebula is defined by her profound rebellion against him, a result of his brutal upbringing. These complex adoptive relationships are absolutely central to his character and motivations, showing how even a mad titan is shaped by familial bonds.
Yeah, those relationships add a lot of pathos. And in the realm of characters like Kraven the Hunter, his aristocratic Russian origins, and his obsessive desire to prove himself as the greatest hunter are deeply rooted in his family background, this need to validate his lineage. His complex relationship with his father, Nikolai, and his half-brother, the Chameleon, plays a significant role in shaping his character and motivations, often driving his most extreme acts.
Right.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the Zemo legacy is a perfect example of generational villainy. Both Heinrich Zemo, a Nazi scientist and master of subterfuge, and his son, Helmut Zemo.
Oh, yeah. Helmet in Civil War.
Exactly. They're both master strategists and combatants who perpetuate this villainous dynasty. Helmut's meticulously planned revenge against the Avengers in Civil War is entirely fueled by the death of his own family. It showcases how profound personal tragedy can be passed down through generations and have world-altering consequences.
And then there's the specific burden of just being a child or a successor, carrying that immense weight. Deadpool 2099, Warda Wilson.
Lee's daughter, right?
Yeah. She inherits her father's healing factor, but she has this incredibly strained relationship with Wade because he was always absent, and her mother, Shikla, mysteriously disappeared. Our sources detail how she's actively seeking answers about her family's unresolved past, which forms a core part of her character arc.
Family mysteries.
Plus, she's got this intense rivalry with her half-sister, Ellie Camacho, over who gets to claim the Deadpool name and legacy, adding another layer of familial competition.
Always complicated with Deadpool. In a similar vein, Venom 2099 Kron Stone is profoundly driven by his abusive childhood and his intense rivalry with his half-brother, Spider-Man 2099, Miguel O'Hara. His past directly fuels his actions as Venom, making his villainy a direct consequence of a dysfunctional family environment.
And finally, John Blake, who eventually becomes Robin in The Dark Knight Rises. Our sources emphasize that he's an orphan cop, and he figured out Bruce was Batman through empathy, having grown up without parents himself, understanding the profound trauma that shaped Bruce.
That shared experience.
Exactly. His eventual revelation as Robin and his acrobatic swing into the Batcave, mirroring Bruce's own origin story, powerfully signifies him taking on the legacy of a hero, shaped by his own family history, or, the poignant lack thereof.
So, family clearly defines so many of these characters, but so does the technology that either empowers them or threatens their very existence.
Absolutely.
Technology is far more than just a backdrop in these stories. Our sources illustrate how it's almost an active character in itself. From futuristic weapons to mind-bending advancements, it fundamentally shifts the entire landscape of their worlds, often creating both progress and peril in equal measure.
The Terminator narrative really just hammers this home, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. A classic.
It's deeply rooted in those very real 1980s fears of nuclear war, depicting this desolate, dismantled, and destroyed world in 2029, ruled by machines after humanity basically nuked itself into near oblivion.
Cold War anxieties.
And what's chilling is how the origins of Skynet itself are linked to the Terminator's left arm. which was left behind after its destruction in 1984. It creates this self-fulfilling, closed time loop where past events directly lead to the future war. It's a terrifying paradox.
And what's fascinating here is the Terminator itself, the T-800 cyborg assassin. It showcases this terrifying durability. Our sources detail its capacity for self-repair, famously depicted when it removes its own damaged eye to reveal that glowing chrome socket. And its relentless pursuit despite massive damage, its iconic "I'll be back" line, which Arnold Schwarzenegger actually argued with James Cameron about regarding the robotic delivery.
Really? He wanted it smoother.
Apparently. But Cameron's insistence on that almost perfunctory delivery became this crucial creative choice. It underscored the machine's mechanical, emotionless drive and cemented its status as this unfeeling, inevitable force.
Yeah, the delivery's perfect.
And this whole narrative raises profound ethical questions about the dangers of artificial intelligence and machines potentially surpassing human intelligence, a debate that's still incredibly relevant today.
Then you have something like Alioth in the MCU, which our sources describe as this primordial cloud that literally absorbs and conquers whichever reality it touches, existing across divergent timelines.
The end of time, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Its immense power causes massive temporal disturbances and devastation, essentially erasing entire realities.
Yeah.
And the fact that Kang the Conqueror, a master of time himself, fears Alioth so much that he built a temporal barrier to keep it out of his domain, Chronopolis, well, it highlights the sheer limits and necessities of even the most advanced technology against cosmic existential threats. It shows that even cosmic-level power has its own vulnerabilities.
Technology isn't just about destructive power, though. It's also about the supersuits, the gadgets, the enhancements that define so many of these characters, giving them their unique edge.
Tony Stark, Iron Man, is the absolute poster child for this in the MCU.
For sure.
Our sources chronicle his armor's constant inventive upgrades. From the Iron Man 2 feature that could filter urine into drinkable water, kind of wild, right?
Yeah. Practical, I guess.
To the Mark 85 nanotech armor in Endgame that's so advanced it seamlessly integrates with the Infinity Stones. And the quantum boots they use in Endgame aren't just cool gadgets. Our sources highlight them as this meta-narrative in themselves, symbolizing the Avengers' collective intelligence.
Oh, so?
They combine nanobots for instant adaptation from Stark's genius, quantum access from Pym Tech, which manipulates subatomic particles for interdimensional travel, and even blue visors from Kree Tech, an alien race's advanced energy-based systems. This mix of tech represents a synthesis of diverse scientific philosophies, each piece crucial for literally bending reality.
That's brilliant. Christopher Nolan famously grounded Batman in a much more realistic technological framework in his Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, much more grounded.
Bruce Wayne's plausible weaponry, as detailed in our sources, includes practical innovations like a Nomex survival suit, a pneumatic magnetic grappling gun, a memory fabric cape that can become rigid for gliding, and of course, the heavily armored Tumbler vehicle.
The Tumbler was awesome.
And the new suit in The Dark Knight, allowing him to turn his head, was this clever meta-joke about previous Batman suit designs, emphasizing functional improvements and a commitment to practical, plausible design.
Right, finally.
But what's particularly compelling is how Nolan addresses the moral implications of powerful technology. Lucius Fox's decision to destroy that invasive sonar surveillance system directly reflects post-9/11 Patriot Act debates, showing how even a hero's tools can raise profound ethical questions about privacy and civil liberties.
That was a really powerful moment. And if you look at the 2099 universe across Marvel Comics, our sources reveal it as a future where corporations have taken over and heroes are scarce, relying heavily on advanced technology that's become integrated into everyday life.
The cyberpunk future.
Exactly. Doom 2099, for instance, has nanotechnology embedded directly into his nervous system for immediate tech interface and self-healing. His advanced armor includes flight, force fields, powerful energy blasts.
Standard Doom upgrades.
Pretty much. Deadpool 2099, Warda Wilson, uses a high-tech suit with a retractable helmet and jetpack, and even rides a flying mechanical dragon, reflecting truly advanced, often weaponized personal tech.
A flying dragon. Right.
Spider-Man 2099, Miguel O'Hara, gets his powers from a genetic experiment gone wrong, not a spider bite, and organically produces webbing from his wrists, showcasing biotechnological advancements as a source of power.
Different origin, cool powers.
And even the X-Men 2099 feature characters like Skullfire, who's pure energy, or Jump Pile, who transforms into scrap metal and later becomes a self-replicating Stark android. demonstrating diverse mutant abilities deeply integrated with future tech.
And then on the villain side, you've got Dr. Octopus. He's a classic example of technology gone awry, turning a brilliant scientist into a megalomaniac.
Those arms are iconic.
Totally. His titanium steel tentacles, each capable of lifting 8 tons and extending 24 feet, are a core part of his identity. And his transformation into this megalomaniacal criminal is directly attributed to the irreversible brain damage he suffers during the experiment that gives him mental control over these arms. It's a tragic, cautionary tale of unchecked scientific ambition.
But technology, no matter how advanced or seemingly invincible, often comes with specific vulnerabilities, right? Which is key for combat and narrative tension.
Absolutely. You need weaknesses.
Take Daredevil in the 2003 film. He's blinded, yes, but he gains these hyper-acute senses, perceiving the world as a shadow world of visible vibrations and sounds so precise he can hear a speed bag or perfectly throw a book to hit it from across a room.
The radar sense.
But these heightened senses can be overwhelmingly debilitating, like when a loud, clanging bell just renders him helpless. His vigilante gear, like his cane that cleverly transforms into a billy club, showcases practical, adaptable tech rather than overt superpowers, grounding his abilities in a more realistic, tangible way.
Our sources describe the Prowler's enhanced suit as providing retractable claws, enhanced strength and agility, aligning with tech-based villainy, and making him a physically formidable opponent reliant on his suit for his edge. Similarly, the Rhino's Rhino-themed suit provides superhuman strength, durability, and resistance to physical damage, making him a brute force adversary whose power is derived almost entirely from his impenetrable, technologically advanced armor.
And the Sandman, while seemingly elemental, uses his body's unique ability to convert to sand to form weapons or impersonate others. This is a unique power that borders on natural manipulation, giving him this fluid, almost impossible to contain form.
Very hard to fight.
But his specific weakness to extreme temperatures, above 3,400 degrees Fahrenheit, and water, shows how even such unique abilities can have distinct narrative-driving vulnerabilities. Heroes often use those to exploit his specific weaknesses.
Right, gotta find the loophole. So we've moved from these grand battles shaped by technology to the personal struggles of identity. These narratives constantly challenge our perceptions, revealing that many of these characters undergo such profound transformations. It's not just about acquiring powers or new tech, but about who they become, or sometimes who they desperately struggle to remain.
Indeed. The journey of identity, whether it's forced or chosen, is such a powerful underlying current in all these stories. Our sources consistently highlight how characters are constantly grappling with their past, their purpose, and what it truly means to exist within their given, often extraordinary circumstances.
Dr. Kurt Connors, who transforms into the Lizard, is portrayed as such a tragic figure.
Yeah, really tragic.
He's a scientist seeking a noble goal to regrow lost limbs, but his experiment goes awry, turning him into this monstrous lizard-like creature. Our sources emphasize his tragic struggle for identity and control as he's driven by these primal reptilian instincts, yet tormented by his human conscience. He's constantly fighting this war within himself for who he truly is.
And what's particularly insightful about Johnny Blaze, the ghostwriter, is that his transformation is explicitly a living weapon of damnation, where the writer burns the host piece by piece, memory by memory. Hosts lose identities, families, and grip on reality.
Terrifying.
This is just a stark portrayal of forced identity loss. The sources describe his legacy as tragic, not heroic about being lost in the fire and trying to find your way back when you're already consumed. It's a constant battle for self.
And the Sandman's very essence is that of fluid identity. His ability to convert his body into sand allows him to form simple weapons, complex machinery, or even impersonate others, literally giving him a mutable identity.
Yeah, he can be anything.
Our sources explore how he often walks the line between villainy and heroism, precisely because his form, and thus his self, is constantly changing. It reflects this constant struggle for moral alignment that's tied to his physical state.
Harvey Dent's descent into Two-Face in The Dark Knight is another powerful example of duality and transformation. He begins as Gotham's White Knight, this symbol of justice.
The best of us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But after his face is horribly blonde, he's driven to this extreme of honesty by the Joker's manipulations, believing chance is the only true arbiter of justice.
Or the coin flip.
His double-headed coin doesn't just represent his two-faced reputation. It literally symbolizes the corruption of his idealism and the splintering of his identity into this fractured, morally ambiguous figure.
And for Bruce Wayne in The Dark Knight Rises, our sources revealed that the opening shot of the Batman logo formed by cracking ice isn't just visually striking, it powerfully foreshadows his physical and mental breaking by Bane.
The breaking of the bat.
But his recovery in the pit, refusing the safety rope, and being supercharged by bats, his original phobia symbolizes a profound spiritual resurrection. It connects his foundational trauma to his redemption and a renewed, more resolute sense of self, accepting his past fears as a source of strength.
The struggle for self-definition is equally compelling, even for established heroes. Wanda Maximoff in the MCU provides a great example of this.
Oh, definitely Wanda.
Her evolution from a supporting character to this formidable figure grappling with grief and loss, as seen so vividly in WandaVision, where Agatha Harkness infiltrates her life to understand her reality-warping abilities, showcases immense depth and nuance in character development. Her profound personal trauma fuels this powerful transformation of identity and power.
What's truly insightful here is Thor's journey in Avengers Endgame. His plus-size transformation isn't just a physical change, it's a visible manifestation of his profound emotional trauma and self-worth struggle after immense loss.
Yeah, bro, Thor.
Our sources highlight his eventual journey to come to terms with his identity and purpose, demonstrating a very relatable struggle with self-worth and adaptation that resonates with anyone who's had to redefine themselves after a major life event. He has to redefine what it means to be Thor beyond just being the physically strongest Avenger.
And Shang-Chi's journey in the MCU also explores this theme beautifully. His struggle to reconcile his father's complex legacy with his own values highlights the intricate complexities of identity and cultural heritage.
Father issues are a big theme.
Totally. Our sources point out that this is a deeply personal theme of self-discovery through inherited burdens, a narrative many can relate to, as he navigates his place between two worlds.
And Jake Sully in Avatar, his journey from a paraplegic Marine to a member of the Na'vi tribe, is a powerful narrative of cultural immersion and self-reinvention. Our sources reveal how he sheds his old identity to embrace a completely new one, defined by a deep spiritual connection to nature and a new culture.
Becoming Na'vi.
The Dream Hunt ceremony, where he is born twice and receives a guiding vision, truly marks this profound transition in his self-discovery, becoming a bridge between two vastly different ways of life.
These profound personal shifts often lead to or are born from these intense conflicts, especially those driven by vengeance. Many of these characters are driven by that singular, powerful ocean, vengeance. But how does that pursuit impact their moral compass? And what does it say about justice itself?
Vengeance is a truly complex motivator. Our sources show it can provide a clear, singular purpose, yes, but it also carries the significant risk of consuming the individual, blurring the lines between perpetrator and punisher, and ultimately questioning the very nature of justice itself.
Maximus in Gladiator is the absolute epitome of personal vengeance. His goal is singular and unwavering. Kill Commodus, driven solely by the brutal murder of his wife and 8-year-old son.
Be your revenge.
His iconic line, delivered with such raw determination, "What we do in life echoes in eternity," sets the stage for his unwavering, vengeful quest. He famously refuses luxuries, focuses entirely on his objective, eventually achieving his goal by killing Commodus in the arena, fulfilling his vengeance in this life or the next, but at immense personal cost.
And if we connect this to the broader narrative of driven villains, the Zemo legacy, particularly with Helmut Zemo in Captain America, Civil War is a masterclass in family-driven revenge.
He tore the Avengers apart.
Didn't he? Our sources highlight how his intelligence and strategic thinking are meticulously used to manipulate others and pit the Avengers against each other, all to seek revenge for the death of his own family. It's a chillingly calculated form of vengeance, demonstrating how personal tragedy can manifest as a large-scale manipulation.
And then there's the spot Dr. Jonathan Unn, who, while working for Kingpin, gets portal powers after an experiment goes wrong. Our sources explain that he is driven by a desire for revenge and recognition after his transformation, which leads to his direct clashes with Spider-Man.
Wants to be taken seriously.
Exactly. It's a personal vendetta that empowers his villainy, pushing him into increasingly destructive acts in pursuit of a twisted form of justice for what he believes he was owed.
In Gladiator 2, Denzel Washington's character, a former slave, initially hides his true intentions, revealing this masterful deception. His ultimate goal, our sources reveal, is to see Rome burned for revenge, not to be in charge himself.
Just destruct.
Right. He subtly manipulates the emperors and works his way up through the brutal gladiatorial system, a stark contrast to Proximo's more honorable path. He even coldly kills the more competent emperor, showing his absolute ruthless commitment to his vengeful objective, prioritizing destruction over just leadership.
Then you have the Joker in The Dark Knight. His insatiable thirst for chaos and destruction, with no sense of morality or restraint, is this truly anarchic form of vengeance on society itself.
An agent of chaos.
He simply wants to prove his nihilistic worldview that everyone's as ugly as I am and can be corrupted. Our sources delve into how his constantly changing scar stories highlight him as an unreliable narrator and a true psychopath with no definitive backstory. He represents pure, unadulterated chaos rather than a personal vendetta, making him just a terrifying force of nature.
What's truly fascinating here is how these characters navigate their moral compass amidst their pursuit of justice or vengeance. Batman, in Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, constantly struggles with the idea of escalation.
Right, Gordon worries about it.
Our sources reveal that Jim Gordon worries that Batman's theatrics will inspire more villains, foreshadowing the Joker's emergence. Batman's strict moral code, his decision not to kill, especially the Joker, pushes him to his absolute limits and forces him to confront the darker aspects of his own nature. His struggle against the Joker's prisoner's dilemma on the ferries, where two groups of citizens are forced to choose to blow up the other, highlights his enduring belief in human goodness, even in the face of absolute cynicism and chaos.
Ghost Rider's unflinching morality is another challenging example. As a spirit of vengeance, he is not afraid to kill, doesn't do second chances or debate ethics.
Judge, jury, and executioner.
Pretty much. This puts him at odds with traditional heroes and poses profound questions about justice delivered outside conventional law, where consequences are immediate and brutal. However, our sources note his surprising respect for Dr. Strange, forming an uneasy alliance.
Interesting pairing.
It hints at a shared understanding of mystical forces, and perhaps the immense suffering that comes with wielding such immense, uncontrollable power.
And the director's cut of the 2003 Daredevil film really highlights the theme of empathy over revenge. Our sources reveal that Matt Murdock's core motivation is empathy and compassion, which ultimately leads him to uncover Kingpin's vast criminal enterprise, rather than just seeking revenge for Elektra's death.
So it wasn't just about Elektra.
Apparently not primarily. He chooses not to seek revenge on Fisk, possibly due to seeing firsthand the cyclical violence revenge causes. The film is also notably praised for being one of the first superhero movies to explicitly show the realistic scars, bruises, painkillers, broken teeth, highlighting the brutal physical cost of his brand of justice and vigilantism, making his heroism more tangible and painful.
These narratives, whether they're huge cinematic blockbusters or intricate comic book sagas, are just so rich with details, callbacks, subtle layers that really deepen our understanding. Beyond the big themes, our sources are packed with fascinating details, behind-the-scenes insights, clever Easter eggs. They genuinely enrich these fictional worlds and reveal the true artistry of their creators.
The depth of detail in these creations is just incredible. It's in these subtle choices, these intentional callbacks and fascinating production notes that we see the true artistry and intentionality of the creators. They transform entertainment into these profound narrative experiences.
Let's start with Avengers. Endgame. You know how the Godfather's sources mention the color orange consistently foreshadowing death?
Right, the oranges.
Well, Endgame has its own meticulous foreshadowing for Tony Stark's death. Our sources detail how his damaged right helmet from an earlier vision matches his future injury. And they even subtly use his funeral music in scenes leading up to it, creating this deep sense of dread.
Laying the groundwork.
His final self-sacrifice moment beautifully uses his one-way trip theme from the first Avengers, bringing his character arc full circle. Clint Barton's grief over Natasha is powerfully shown through subtle details like Nate's baseball glove and the widow's bite glove piece, linking to Natasha's sacrifice.
Small touches, big impact.
And Captain America's ending, with his noble lie for Gotham linking to Batman narratives and him finally achieving his destiny with Peggy Carter, set to the poignant song, "It's Been a Long, Long Time." It's just pure emotional genius.
Perfect ending for Cap.
And that famous "I Love You 3000" line. Our sources reveal it came directly from Robert Downey Jr.'s kids, and is even suggested to link to the total runtime of the entire Infinity Saga, which clocks in at approximately 3,000 minutes.
Wow, that's amazing if true.
Plus, Loki stealing the Tesseract completely sets up the Loki Disney Plus series, showing how these minute details weave into a much bigger interconnected narrative tapestry.
And what's truly fascinating is the sheer number of meticulously crafted details in the Dark Knight trilogy. The fear toxin's origin, for instance, is subtly foreshadowed by Ducard's blue flower, which is later cultivated by Scarecrow for his plan to infect Gotham.
Ah, the blue flower.
Martha Wayne's iconic pearls snapping and scattering isn't just a classic detail from the comics. Our sources show how Nolan meticulously staged this moment as a symbolic shattering of innocence, a fragmented visual metaphor for Bruce's fractured reality and the chaotic genesis of Batman.
So much thought behind it.
Joe Chill's assassination is a direct homage to the Jack Ruby shooting of Lee Harvey Oswald, adding a layer of historical commentary. The Joker's infamous pencil trick isn't just a shocking moment. It's based on a real medical injury, adding a disturbing layer of realism to his depravity.
Yikes.
And his shrinking pie game theory for demanding money is this chilling piece of his psychological warfare, a true insight into his manipulative genius. His iconic line, "You complete me," is even a clever pop culture reference to Jerry Maguire, highlighting his twisted sense of connection.
Huh. I never made that connection.
Bane's powerful "The Fire Rises" is a direct quote from Charles Dickens. A tale of two cities, emphasizing social upheaval, underscored by the Moroccan chant Desi Basura in Bane's theme, literally meaning "my garbage," a powerful metaphor for the discarded masses rising up.
Wow. Literary references.
Batman's spine break is lifted straight out of the Nightfall comic storyline, a brutal visual callback for fans. And Scarecrow's kangaroo court isn't just a chaotic scene. It's a nod to Madame Defarge from A Tale of Two Cities, with Crane as judge and Bane symbolically knitting a list of the condemned, showing the intentional literary depth.
Gladiator also has some incredible details that enhance its realism and emotional impact. Beyond the debated orange motif from The Godfather that our sources touch upon, Maximus's iconic line, "Are you not entertained?" delivered with such raw fury after his first gladiator battle in Rome, perfectly captures his disdain for the bloodthirsty crowd. Or Marcus Aurelius's cool, almost poetic line to Maximus, "The frost. Sometimes it makes the blade stick," which speaks to the subtle, inescapable challenges of leadership.
Great lines.
And the challenges of production were immense, adding to the film's legendary status. Oliver Reed, who played the charismatic Proximo, tragically died 3 weeks before filming ended.
Oh, I remember that.
And they completed his role using an ingenious combination of a body double and cutting-edge CGI, a testament to the crew's dedication. The Colosseum itself was only built up to the bottom half on set, a massive feat itself, with the rest of the towering structure and the roaring crowds being filled in by digital extras and over 400 clever cardboard cutouts, demonstrating the artistry in creating epic scale without losing tangible reality.
Smart filmmaking.
Plus, Russell Crowe sustained numerous real-life injuries during filming, making his portrayal even more visceral and earned.
The very origins of the Terminator are equally fascinating, stemming, as our sources detail, from James Cameron's fever dream of a metallic skeleton rising from fire, which sparked the entire concept.
Just from a dream.
Wow. And there's that iconic "I'll be back" line. Our sources delve into how Arnold Schwarzenegger actually argued with Cameron over its robotic delivery, preferring a smoother take. But Cameron's insistence on that almost monotone, flat delivery was crucial, as it underscored the Terminator's emotionless, machine-like nature, making it all the more terrifying.
Cameron was right on that one.
And the very origins of Cyberdyne systems are directly linked to the Terminator's left arm, which was left behind after its destruction, creating that self-fulfilling closed loop that ingeniously drives the entire narrative and highlights the dangers of humanity's own technological creations coming back to haunt them.
The world building in these films is just incredible, often born from equally incredible visions. Take Pandora and Avatar. Our sources describe it as this bioluminescent world, directly inspired by James Cameron's dream.
Another dream.
Filled with glowing plants, sapphire seas, and those iconic floating Hallelujah Mountains, which hover due to the unique properties of unobtainium. The Na'vi physiology is so meticulously detailed. Blue skin, 10-foot-tall males, 4 fingers and toes, cat-like ears, bioluminescent dots that reflect their emotions, and that crucial neural cue for Sahilu, the deep spiritual bond with animals and the planetary consciousness, Ewa. Every detail contributes to a truly immersive, living world.
And the Na'vi culture is deeply intertwined with their environment and spiritual beliefs. Our sources detail the 3 laws of Ewa. You shall not set stone upon stone. Neither shall you use the turning wheel, nor use the metals of the ground. Ancient laws that predate their first songs and are designed to maintain their ecological balance, which humans unknowingly and carelessly break.
Breaking all the rules.
Awa herself can even transfer consciousness, as seen with Dr. Grace Augustine, a profound testament to the planet's sentience. And the song chord, where Na'vi create a life song from a young age by attaching objects representing milestones, sung by loved ones upon death, is this beautiful, intricate cultural detail, emphasizing their connection to life and lineage.
Yeah, beautiful.
Their conservation practices, hunting only when needed with nothing goes to waste, starkly contrasts human exploitation, serving as a powerful environmental message.
And the Marvel 2099 universe is a masterclass in corporate dystopia and futuristic world building. Our sources highlight a future where corporations have taken over and heroes are scarce, with behemoths like Alchemax and Pixel Corporation controlling nearly every aspect of everyday life.
Bleak future.
The symbiotes in this future are also uniquely evolved, like Venom 2099, Kron Stone with acidic blood and saliva, and a truly grotesque appearance. Or Alea Bell's partnership with her symbiote, where both sides talk to each other, showing a more collaborative, evolved relationship between host and parasite, rather than just parasitic control.
Beyond the grand narratives, the individual characters have these fascinating quirks and specific abilities that add immense depth to these universes. Agatha Harkness, for example, is described as an ancient witch existing since before Atlantis, with formidable powers like power absorption, transmutation, enchantment. And our sources delve into her cunning infiltration of Wanda's life in Westview and WandaVision, a testament to her manipulative prowess.
She was great. Then you have Beta Ray Bill, a Corbinite champion who is cybernetically enhanced with distinctive equine features, making him visually unique.
Or say Thor, basically.
Kind of. He's worthy enough to wield Stormbreaker, much like Mjolnir and later the Twilight Sword. His close, respectful relationship with Thor is a fan favorite, highlighting a deep bond forged through shared valor. And Black Cat has peak human conditioning. She's a master thief and martial artist. And her complex, often morally ambiguous romantic relationship with Spider-Man adds so much to his world, constantly challenging his moral code.
The Blob, fittingly, is described as immovable and nearly indestructible, with immense strength, often a formidable, almost unmovable foe to the X-Men. Carnage, the offspring of Venom, is driven by pure chaos with shape-shifting and superhuman strength, recently embarking on a chilling path to godhood after absorbing Null's symbiote, escalating his threat.
Carnage is terrifying.
The Chameleon is a master of disguise, able to perfectly mimic appearance, voice, and mannerisms, a true master of deception whose threat lies in his ability to be anyone, anywhere.
And Galactus, the cosmic entity known as the Planetary Devourer, is capable of planetoid creation and destruction, energy absorption, and flight across vast distances, truly showcasing immense cosmic-level power that just dwarfs nearly every other being in the Marvel Universe.
A big purple guy.
And finally, the Spot, whose portal creation allows him to teleport and deflect attacks, making him a master thief by manipulating space itself. Our sources highlight that his limited spots are his primary weakness, and Spider-Man's spider sense can't even detect his portal attacks, making him a truly unique and frustrating opponent who literally moves outside conventional reality.
Tricky villain.
We've traversed these vast fictional landscapes, delved into the hearts of heroes and villains, and explored the intricate threads that connect them. Now let's try and tie it all together, see what larger truth might emerge.
Okay. We've seen how themes of power, its corrupting influence, the allure and heavy burden of leadership intertwine across these diverse narratives. From the Corleone family's tragic, isolating reign to Thanos' chillingly logical yet destructive cosmic ambition. We've explored the evolving pace of heroism, from Tony Stark's ultimate self-sacrificing act and Batman's constant moral tightrope walk, to Ghost Rider's brutal, unflinching justice and Jake Sully's profound cultural transformation.
Identity itself becomes this transformative journey, whether it's forced or chosen, as seen with Dr. Connor's tragically becoming the Lizard, or Bruce Wayne's physical and emotional breaking and triumphant rising, and technology, from Skynet's chilling rise and the unstoppable Terminator, to Iron Man's cutting-edge quantum tech and the corporate dystopias of 2099. It constantly shifts the landscape, offering both incredible progress and existential peril.
Right.
Even vengeance, while a powerful motivator for characters like Maximus or Helmut Zemo, always seems to come with profound moral compromises and often just perpetuates cycles of pain.
Absolutely. So what you've gained here isn't just knowledge about these incredible characters and their fantastical worlds, but hopefully new lenses through which to view our own world.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Think about the ethical dilemmas of artificial intelligence, the corrupting nature of power in any sphere of influence, the complexities of family legacies that echo through generations, and that ever-present question of what it truly means to be a hero. or to seek justice in an imperfect world. You've learned about the human and even non-human condition itself mirrored in these rich, fictional tapestries.
So here's something for you to maybe mull over. If these narratives consistently explore the idea of cyclical conflicts, where past actions perpetually shape future struggles, like we see so vividly in the closed loop of the Terminator's origins or the generational burdens of the Corleone family, what does that imply about our own ability? Can we truly escape or break free from the patterns of history and human nature?
That's a deep question.
Is destiny written, or can we genuinely chart a new course? Something to think about.
We definitely encourage you to revisit these stories with a fresh perspective, looking for the intricate details and profound themes we've discussed today that make them so enduring. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.